Okay, so let's get right into this. Basically, the Social Security Administration, through their OIG, Office of Inspector General, has become more aggressive when it comes to people working while receiving disability benefits, and they're working and earning money and not reporting it, and then filling out a form and saying, "Hey, I'm so terrible, I'm so bad, I can never do anything." OIG hot sheet was recently released where a St. Louis County fossil company operator admits disability fraud. And the main thing is they're able to figure out stuff faster, better, super smart, quick, AI, organize, go through your spreadsheets, go through your accounts, go through your operating system. They can figure it out really quickly as to who people are actually doing this side work and earning more than they actually claim. Let me go through it real quick. September 10th, 2025, so very recently released. St. Louis, a man who recreates fossils. Okay, so imagine a fossil, he makes fossils like the fossil. On Wednesday, admitted stealing $106,923 in Social Security disability funds. Scott A. Taylor, 50 years old, of Wellston, pled guilty in U.S. District Court in St. Louis to one felony count of theft of government money. Taylor was granted disability benefits on September 5th, 1996, so way back. And remember, when somebody's been found disabled for that long, usually the SSA leaves them alone. But what we're seeing is people that have been found disabled way back are still getting scanned with AI for potential fraud situation stuff. At some point, he opened tailor-made fossils, which made multiple sized cast or molded fossil recreations. All business paperwork was in Taylor's girlfriend's, but he oversaw the business. His plea agreement says, all right. So basically, what happened was he had a business of making bones out of bones. His girlfriend was the one that was technically on the paperwork to be doing stuff, but he was running it. Okay. Obviously, they looked into it. Okay. And that happens when you're a self employed individual. That happens. They're going to look into you. Okay. It's the potential of that. It's, because remember, if you're out there all of a sudden, earning some money and then the company is doing better and then they're looking at, okay, well, how much did you actually earn? Well, how much did you deduct? Stuff like that. All right. Since 2014, the business generated income ranging from hundreds of dollars to tens of thousands of dollars per month in all but 3 months. So, in other words, there was an income problem where he was earning way over SGA, and they had to figure out how much of this was, essentially countable income versus how much of this could be deducted away as a business expense. Okay. On October 1st, 2023, Taylor completed a continuing disability review report in which he falsely reported having difficulty walking, standing, concentrating, feeding himself, shopping, using his arms, managing money, seeing, hearing, speaking, and caring for his hair. So, in other words, they set him up. They sent him one of those CDR reports, a long form. He filled it out and said he couldn't do this, couldn't do that, couldn't do this. And in reality, he was running a successful bone recreation business. He stated his vision caused him to walk into people and objects and frequently fall down the stairs, that he was in extreme, constant pain, that was dangerous for him to leave the house, that he could not feel his hands or feet, and that even normal items would become too heavy to lift. Of course, he laid on way too much cheese into this response report. And remember, it's a setup. They send out that long form in an attempt to get him to make statements, and they might have sent him a 3373 or something. So they send it out, right? They get his responses to these statements. And then essentially what happens is they use it as the thing that they can claim that he committed fraud on, because he filled it out like he was super disabled. It's always best to let your doctors do the talking through their medical reports and also the imaging and surgery and notes and this and that. It's always best to rely on their notes. A lot of people, for some reason, think that they can talk the SSA into thinking that they're disabled. That's not how it works. In fact, statutorily, it's required for them to place significant weight on the doctors and, kind of ignore the BS that you want to give them. So, it is what it is. All the while, Taylor was carrying a large or heavy object, doing yard work, using a cell phone. and walking normally while unassisted and alone. Later that same month, defendant falsely claimed he had received no wages or income and had no form of employment since 1997. So, in other words, I want to point something out. They're getting a lot better at figuring out who the bullshit artists are. And the scary thing about it is that some people, they got a little side gig, and that's not to be unexpected. I mean, considering Bidenomics was kind of a huge failure, people don't have money anymore. It's tough. It's really tough out there. So considering all of that, now with that said, they got him on a lot of lies. And that's where the SSA brings out their giant cleaver to cut off his benefits, because individuals who are working side jobs that then claim that they're terribly, horribly, severely, extremely disabled, and then on top of that, claim that they can't do certain things and they haven't had a job for a really long time, the SSA is going to come in and very aggressively cut out those benefits. Okay. On November 1st, 2023, Taylor completed a function report in which he reiterated his false claims about his limited ability to see, move, and care for himself. After an investigation by the Social Security Administration, so they basically sent out an investigator from OIG, Office of Inspector General, Taylor's disability benefits were discontinued. Taylor stole a total of $106,923, his plea agreement says. Taylor is scheduled to be sentenced on December 9th. So we'll come back to it. We'll revisit the claim in December and see what they hit him with for this felony. The crime carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison, a fine of up to $250,000, or both prison and a fine. He will also be ordered to repay the money. The SSA OIG investigated the case. Assistant U.S. Attorney Gwen Carroll is prosecuting the case. Now, here's the deal. They're stuck because they know he's not disabled, and they know he can earn some money, and they know that he can make some bones. So do you put him in jail for a long time? Well, it's a felony. Should be prison, right? Or do you put him in for a little while and then bring him out and get him back to working and paying the money back? That's the tough thing they're facing here. How long should he sit in jail? Because the longer he sits in jail, the less enthused he's going to be about going back to work and spending a lot of his time paying back these fees and fines and benefits, etc. So the bottom line that I'm getting at with this thing is the SSA is in a tricky spot. No, the judge is in a tricky spot. He's got to figure out the best way to deal with this particular individual. Now, a lot of you will say, well, that's because he clearly committed fraud. Look. Many of you have a side gig that's not on the books. And many of you, sweetie, hi, yes. And many of you have essentially a situation where you feel like you need it. And I get it. I'm not trying to give you any slack or crap on that. I mean, I get it. Okay. The dollar is like total crap. I mean, everything's so expensive. I just came from McDonald's. I had like a number 9, 2 little burgers, a fry, and a drink. And I got one of those fish fillet hamburgers. It's like $24. It's insane. Prices don't make sense anymore. Okay. And that was like my nice thing just to get out of the house. So some people Netflix and chill. I go to McDonald's, let me tell you. So the bottom line here to kind of keep in mind is that you're going to be seeing a lot of these types of claims where people had a little side gig or they had a little side company. And the SSA is becoming more aggressive at trying to find these individuals. At the end of the day, the SSA wants these people off benefits. So, use your protection devices, get your butt on a ticket to work program, work your way into what you actually want to do. 5 years of CDR protection. You won't have a CDR while you're doing the ticket to work unless they find fraud. But they're getting better at finding these little side companies and side jobs and side gigs that people have to make ends meet. All right. So Princess Diana said, "You didn't get me any chicken nuggets." I'm so sorry. I did not. I feel terrible about it. I will get you extra barbecue sauce next time. Other than that, a super thank you to Raymond Rodden, who just became a member now for the 4th month. He said, "Walter, those of us who love to learn from you will remain. We aren't going anywhere." And I super appreciate that because the next video we're about to do is essentially about Charlie Kirk and doing an honor to him. And basically, instead of doing a video where I allow people to go ahead and ask me questions and I answer them about disability law, we're going to do a debate video just like he would do. Although it's on whatever topic you want. It doesn't have to be about religion or, basically Republican versus Democrat. It doesn't have to be any of that stuff. It can be whatever you want. I'm going to go get things set up so that I can set the phone up right here, and I will debate you on whatever question you want to ask me. Now, I just want to point out real quick, this is insanity for an attorney to do this because attorneys like to control the situation, before it gets to them. I don't do that. I just wing it, because what's the worst that could happen? Yeah, we're going to wing it. So I will catch you a little bit later. I will catch you in 5 minutes at the next video. I literally have Sweetie, a 90-pound chubby piggy puff over here, who's trying to climb up the chair, but there's no room. There is no room. So I will catch you all at the next video. And I just want to thank all of you for sticking with me and rocking and rolling with me and learning with me and having fun with me and dealing with this judgmental little snuggle buff. Mwah! I will catch you all. You're chubby girl. I will catch you all later. And I'll catch you at the next video shortly in about, oh my God, let me hit the button. I'll catch you later and I will see you soon. Thanks so much. Attorney Walter Hnot. Bye-bye.